Good morning, September the 4th, 2014. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is Thursday, the second day in the second week of this new semester. So let's get started. Good morning. Welcome back on this Saturday, day number 4, the CISG113, Section 1. So before today's class, let me remind you the video for day number 1, it's already here, and the video for day number 2 will be up by this evening. So if you click on this link, you'll be brought to the YouTube link where you can see the video of day number 1. Okay? So, having said that, let's continue. So, before we come to today's class, let me go back to course home. That is this particular course site introduced to you at the very beginning of the semester. Now, unfortunately, the microphone does not seem to be working for 2 days. I hope that we can somehow fix them. Well, let's take a look at things like this. Let's start this particular day, the second day in the second week of the semester, by focusing on 1, 2, 3 important items of interest in this class. Now, this is a general education course, so you need to understand something about the intended learning outcome for this particular program. Now, the program intended learning outcome, sometimes abbreviated as PINOs, are very important. And according to the design of the general education program, at the University of Macau, we do have some important PINOs, okay? If you look at these lists or table, we have 7 essential PINOs for general education, although we're in the process of refining them. So we're going to walk through them, giving you about a couple of minutes time to understand something. So PINO 01 tells you, as a student, at the end of your general education experience, you should be able to understand and utilize, use specific, very niche area, subject-specific knowledge, for example, in this course, information security and privacy, to do something, and that something is to engage with questions. That means you're not here to boast that you know how much, but you can use the knowledge to discuss with someone as if you know or not, but both contemporary and enduring, those questions, definitely, it could have an answers already, or it could be some kind of question which can never have a proper solutions. Privacy is an issue. Security is an issue. If you want something secure, is your privacy protected? Or if you want something highly confidential, it's the availability balanced. We have the CIA concept. Confidentiality is something we want to keep. Integrity is something that we want to keep too, because we do not want anyone to change our personal information. But A means availability. When we want that information to be made available to us, somehow to process it, very sensitive. If you ever have tried that, if you go to set up a safe box in the bank, in the safe box there are 2 keys, okay? One key is being kept by the bank, the other key is being kept by you. And the bank said, only 2 keys for the other side, and you are going to keep it. Now, if you ever lose that one, you're going to pay $150 per key. And so 2 keys, $300, because we're going to ask someone to drill it open. And that means it's going to be destroyed. We need to install a new one. Okay? So you see that, you see the meaning of that. Now what if you really lost your key? That means the only way you can go back to open up your safe box is to destroy it. PINO number 2, to share ideas effectively in written and almost communications. You're supposed to do something on discussions. And we want you to do discussions both in the context of conversations and also in the context of writing. That's why in the learning contract, you have a discussion forum. You need to put in written records, and you also need to write your blogs, your reports, okay? Both formally and informally. Informally as it's open lunch, high tea time, or even dinner. Formally as in class, in a discussion atmosphere. Pilot number 3, manage. Manage your own learning and development. In the context of this course, when we invite you to learn the specific skills of management in your learning and development, we tell you that in this course you have time management, in this course we have classroom participations, in this course we have blended learning, in this course we have learning practice, including a time management, organizational skills in terms of your personal space. Learning journal is the first one. And also, we want to develop in you, and actually we want you to develop in yourself, a lifelong learning habits, okay? If you have all these particular 5 attributes of managing time well, organizing yourself well, you definitely are set for the 21st century's challenges. And pilot number 4 is to demonstrate you have the ability to think critically. What does it mean by thinking critically? Now we invite you to read something every week. We invite you to select a topic of your interest to read it. Then we insist that you need to take notes. And the notes are supposed to be your journal's material. Now what does it mean? Now last Monday someone asked me, what do we need to write in the journal? And I informed you all that we have a pattern or habit of learning in writing journal. The first one is observation. Read and use your eye to see, to capture ideas, gather data. The second is interpret. That means to ask questions of what you've seen. And the third is ask what lessons you can learn in the context of application. So critical thinking in the context of this course, we are going to develop in you the specific foundational skills of O, I, A. O, observations, I, interpretations, and A, application. And these are the basics of critical thinking. And once you have this basic in thinking critically, the next step is problem-solving skill. Whenever you face a problem, the first thing not to do is never chicken out, okay? Well, be brave and take a look at your problem. What can I do to solve it? What informations do I have in order to tackle this problem? What is meant by a solution to this problem? And what can I do to try out different paths to solve it? Problem solving is very important. And you will have a chance to do it when you are in the second learning contract, also the third learning contract. Pilot number 5 is to demonstrate. Demonstrate means to do something, to exhibit that you have this ability to interpret, to ask questions about, and to synthesize, to put things together, synthesize. A range of information exemplars, those typical informations to get used as the basis of your learning. Well, tell me frankly, most of the questions you are going to study in many of your disciplinary courses are not supposed to be open questions. They are candid questions. Candid question in the sense that they present you one way to look at the world in the context of some questions or problems, and they present you solutions to solve the problem. And that's the reasons why you have examples, questions, solutions, problem. Well, but which solution is the best for a particular situation? We normally do not have a clear definition, but we rely on your ability to think critically and your ability to problem solve to select the best possible solution. That's why you need to ask and you need to try by putting things together. Synthesize means a number of sources, a number of ways. you're going to put together one unique way that is yours to solve a problem. Final number 6, to demonstrate personal and social responsibility. Very important. You know, you have your personal responsibility, because if you do not do your work assignment and submitted, the consequences you're going to fail a particular assignment. If you continue to fail different assignment, you might fail the course. That's your personal responsibility. And what is meant by social responsibility? In the context of group work, everybody in the group must be responsible for doing something in order to contribute to the success of the group. Now, if one of you becomes lazy or irresponsible, the group is going to suffer. That means you are not the only person who's going to suffer from the consequences. You are inflicting impact into the members of your group that they are going to suffer with you too. Now, that is not good. Including ethical reasoning. Ethical reasoning, what is meant by ethic? Ethic is something that has to do with right or wrong, but that is normally not very much governed by the laws of the society. Ethic is something that you know that if you are coming to class and you know that when someone is speaking, that you, instead of listening, you're producing your side of the voice, and people sitting next to you who want to listen to the speaker were so much attracted or distracted by your side voice, and you do not feel it at all. Now, that is an ethical problem. Actions and reasoning. The one who produces noise might think it's I'm just producing my noise. It's none of your business. You're sitting next to me. You can choose not to sit next to me. I have my freedom not to listen, and I have my freedom to talk. Okay? Reasoning and action. And then interpersonal competency. And how are you going to deal with a person like this? Well, you need some kind of skills and ability to handle a person like this. You can say, excuse me, you're a wonderful person, but I prefer to sit not next to you now. All right? Or at the end of the class, we talk to him, I know you like to talk and you have your opinion. Why don't you just come up here and tell the whole class your ideas? And engagement with diverse community. That means you have the ability to deal with different people, not just individual, but a group of people. They have different ideas and these are opinions from it. You have the ability to accommodate differences so that you can make differences. Finally, pilot number 7 is to use integrative and applied learning. Now, integrative learning and applied learning are very important. A lot of time when we discover that we forget something we learned before, it's because we never digest them. We just swallow them and then we excrete them, of course. And then, what are we going to do? We need to understand how to put things into context. And integrative and applied learning challenge you that whatever you study with the precious amount of your time, make the best use of your understanding of it so that you can retain the knowledge and apply them. Again, we come to the word synthesize, put things together, and advance accomplishment. Not only reproduce someone else's solutions that you learn, typically in computer science, you learn a lot of data structures, and these are kind of solutions you learn. But the point is, we don't just produce someone else's solution, we put things together. Advance accomplishment, push the edge forward in new settings so that you can transfer your knowledge learned in one domain to another domain, which sounds to be irrelevant, and across general and specialized study area. Now that is called learning. All right? Learning is not reproducing nuggets of knowledge in exam or test. Learning is how you can transfer what you learn from different domains and put them together in a new setting. And it is your unique solutions. Okay, that is pilots. I've used up my first 15 minutes and into my second 5 minutes. So let's go to the course learning objective of this course. All right? Now, in this general education course, information security and privacy, which is very much oriented to give you learning experiences so that you can acquire the pilots we mentioned just minutes ago. But there is something you must not forget. You're taking this course, CISG113, And in this course for information security and privacy, we have something for you. And we cannot do it all in one semester across a diversity of students in different disciplines. So we set down 3 very fundamental course learning objectives. Now you must read them very carefully because everything you are going to face, you're going to deal with in the Moodle environment, and also this website is based on these 3 important course learning objectives. What is meant by learning objective? It is something the teacher decide for you based on some common framework. The common framework is the PINOs, okay? And based on the theme of this course, the theme is information security and privacy. And let's walk through them. We are going to help you as the student to become literate. Literate means to know something, okay? To be knowledgeable about something. In what? In the fundamental understanding, the basic understanding of something called A, information security, B, information privacy. Now you need to ask yourself the question. The first week is over. Have you gone through the first week's material to find out something about what is information security? Another question is, what is information privacy? Now, we do that in the context of the internet era because we are living in an information age. Somebody called it knowledge society, which is very much characterized by the internet era, including the concepts of computer and communication in security using modern day example. Now, first of all, what is meant by concept? Concept. Ideas. All right? But ideas put in a much more formal framework, which could be classified as academic knowledge. Concept. Computer and communication in security. Could you give us an example of computer and communication in security? Okay, let me give you an example. All of you were given an email account when you were admitted at the University of Macau. And I suppose you're using your email account, right? So do you believe that your email account could only be accessible to you or more than you? Who can access your email account beside you? Or others? Hackers, of course. But let's talk not about hackers. Let's talk about some formal persons working at the University of Macau who will actually enter your email account. ICTO people, yes. All the people in ICTO? All the people in ICTO? No, definitely not. Well, definitely your email accounts are set up by someone, right? Your email account is set up by someone, just like your Moodle account is set up by someone. That particular someone who has the privilege to set up an email account for you could also be easily get into your email account and read your email because he has the privilege. But is he supposed to do something like this? No. But if he really does something like this, who can stop him? No one can stop him, right? So is it very secure? No. It's not very secure. Your information is not very secure. We believe it's going to be secure is because we set up a system here which tells different people to do different things and not to do different things. And the person who set up your email account is supposed to set up an email account for you. Okay? Now he's not supposed to read your email account, but since he is given the privilege to set up an email account, automatically by this privilege, he also has the advantage or the privilege to enter your email. And the question is, can he do that? Of course not. But there are circumstances that he could really do that. Right? Circumstances he could really do that. That we trust that he's not doing it because he knows the rules. And if he does it haphazardly, he's not doing his job, he's going to be fired. Now the question is, who knows Edward Snowden? The American who broke out the big secret that the United States of America has been prying on every single citizen of this country, and he's also telling us the story that the United States of America is actually spying on every other alliance country. And so he threatened the US. He got asylum in Russia today. In between, he stayed in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, he broke to the world his fake news. Wow. I thought no one is going to listen to my phone call. But someone is eavesdropping into my phone call. I thought no one is reading my email, but my email was read by someone at the government level. Okay. Computer and communication insecurity using modern day example. I've just given you examples. I hope you enjoy this kind of story. The second thing is to encourage you. I don't know anything. No, don't worry. You don't know anything. We do not assume you know everything, but you try to formulate and express your views to tell us how you think on the design of information security and privacy. If you were given this privilege to design something for your fellow student or for yourself in such a way it's going to be secure, it's going to be private, what's your idea? What's your idea? Now, you can do it through case study. You look at some stories of work done by others. You write something based on what you're reading from the internet. You come up here and tell us your story, your discovered story, all presentations. And then you engage your fellow students, talk about it. I think every one of you today who are present here must have used the bank's ATM card, right? Automatic teller machines. Okay, now where are you going to use the ATM card? In this kind of ATM booth, right? It's a machine where you put in your card and you punch your PIN, personal identification number, and then you can stop, withdraw money, transfer money, pay your bills, whatever it is. It's the same. It's supposed to be. But what do you discover recently when you go to use an ATM machine? You discover that somewhere there is a camera looking at you. Either from this way, either from this way, facing you, or either both ways, and then two more looking at you like that. Do you feel secure? Are they going to read my number? Or why do they need to do something like this? Because people have come up with different tricks to get information from different persons with ATM machines card so that they could use your PIN to get access to it. And the bank, in order to make sure that in case things like this happen, they have all the taping any person, they could go back and track and look at things. This is an example of design information security privacy. But is it secure? No, they're reading my information, so I need to cover it when I press my PIN, and they're making it even more easy for me to cover so that I can read something like this. They cannot read it. Okay? But even that is the case, or even in Macau, you discover that particular ICBC bands have machines are being tricked by different circuit board put on top of it, and people believe that when they press the PIN, they're pressing the PIN of the machine, but instead, it's the hackers more. So you take the money and hack it from the keyboard. All your keys are being recorded. They reproduce it and get money for it. All right? So finally, to raise students' awareness, awareness means understanding of the impact, the influence of information security and privacy on the computer industry and actually on the society as a whole. And the widespread focus, the range of influences of insecurity issues that I just given you from various applications, besides the bank's ATM machines card, what else can you think of? This card, for me, I can use it to pay my medical bills at Gamble Hospital and different clinics. This card that I sold you can open a lot of doors. Now, in case I lost it, I can be in big trouble. It also might contain some of my identity information. So in order to make sure this card is okay, someone will say, let's add an RFID here, so in case your card is lost, we will be able to return it. No! If you add an RFID here, wherever I go, you know where I am. That's a private issue. But there's a convenience for you, right? No, you don't want that. It's track. Alright? So there was concern, awareness, solutions, not always a solutions. Okay? Through critical discussion, we need to talk about the good thing about it, the bad things about this, on the use of secure communications for purposeful human endeavors. We want to be secure, but you need to make sacrifices for your security. We want to be private. Okay, then you need to also make sacrifice to lose a little bit of your privacy. So the three important post-learning objectives forms the framework of our design of the learning experience here. All right, now, finally, if you want to ask me, this is what you want us to know, but what are we going to prove to you that we could actually do things like this? Well, achieving things here based on your design here, and so we introduce you to the sino. The sinos are very much related to the pinos, that they are constrained under CLOs as the course-based and intended learning outcomes. We do have some sinos here, only 6 in this course, and each sino is related to a specific CLO, course learning objectives. Let's take a look at the first sino. Describe the importance of IT and the related ethical issue. This is an important intended learning outcome that I expect my students to be able to do it just to describe. And of course, I can make it much more flexible to say discussed. Okay? The second thing is to describe the principles and concepts related to information security and privacy. I've just mentioned to you what is meant by concept, a set of ideas, which is acceptable to academic here. But what is meant by principle? A principle is different from a concept in a sense that it's being formulated deliberately by a scholar to tell you something very specific. For example, let me give you an idea. If I were hungry, what should I do? Now tell me. Eat something, right? Now you know that if I were hungry, I should eat. But what if I tell you something? If I were hungry, I'm going to the next door, that is the restroom. What does it mean? If I were hungry, I go to the restroom. It does not make a lot of sense. So the principles tell us that if you really do something like it, there must be a reason behind. Principle, it's something that is formulated deliberately based on specific circumstances. Okay? All right. Now, the concept is a set of ideas. Sino number 3, outline, it means make a brief descriptions in terms of the frameworks of idea. But analyze means go into individual idea and look at it very carefully from top, from bottom, from left, from right, and try to tell something about this. And that something is the impact, the influence of information security issues on information flexibility. I've just given you one example of information flexibility. That is the email. Another example is the telephone. The third example is your Facebook communications, all right? And also your mobile phone, right? So, as well as your ATM passbook or ATM card. The impact of those security issues. You need to understand how to discuss them and look at it. And sino number 4 means, again, is describe. The action is very important. Describe it. You have the knowledge, you can describe it. The usage of various encryption methods. Encryption is a very good term. It's a technology that used to put something in a form that you do not recognize easily. So if I say, I love you, and I change I to J, L to M, O to P, V to X. Okay, you see that I'm converting the letter into one after it, and I'm crypting my message. So instead of sending you I love you, I send you a cryptic message. Cryptic, encryption, enclose it in such a way that you do not recognize it easily. And in order to recognize it properly, you need a key to unlock the encrypted message and convert it back to the original message. And related affectivity issue. And when you do something like this, what do you need to put in mind in order not to hurt someone, or in order to make it acceptable to people? And then silo number 5, analyze and explain the impacts of computer crime to the society. Now again, analyze. We talk about outline, create a framework of ideas so that people understand what you want to talk about. Analyze is once you have the framework of idea, you get into individual idea and you look at it from different angle, put in some information and come up with some conclusions, and that is analyzed. But explain means now that you have all those things done, now tell me in a very simple manner, what does it mean? Explain. Tell the story in a very simple manner with reasons, with justifications, the impacts of computer crime. What is meant by computer crime? I've just given you, if someone really go into your personal email account and read some of your message, he or she is committing a computer crime. He's not supposed to do it. If someone really get into your bank account and steal money or transfer money from yours to his or hers or someone else, is committing computer crime. Okay? That is a crime related to a very specific use of technology, particularly through the use of computing technology. And finally, silo number 6. Apply means what? You learn something now, you use the knowledge you learn, and you try to use the knowledge in a new context so that your knowledge is still very much useful. Apply your technical and legal countermeasures. Technical means, okay, if you have a technology to break my system, let me create a stronger technology to defend my system so that you cannot break it. So I use a higher versions of antivirus to go against you. Or I use legal countermeasures. What is meant by countermeasures? Solutions. Legally, if you ever were caught using someone else's account, you are penalized by jailed for years to come. This is legal countermeasures to address information security threats, those things which will have an impact into our living. Now, these are very important informations. At any time during this course, when you're studying something, when you try to ask the question, why do we need to study that? Come back to this very important table, the pinos, the CLOs, and the sinos. Okay? We are going to learn something within this framework. All right? So let's come here. All right? So today is day number 4. We're going to take a look at the theme of this week, Introductions to Information Technology and Knowledge Society. So we are going to take a look at that. And the way we're going to do it is inquiry-based learning. So let's take a minute now to take a look at what is meant by inquiry-based learning. And then we'll go to the films here.
So Jamie, can you give us a definition? Of IBL?
Well, I think it's quite difficult to define IBL. I think it means a lot of different things to different people, depending on whether you're a member of staff or a student or what kind of discipline or subjects you're doing. But I think in kind of general terms, it's about putting questions and ideas at the centre of learning, so student investigations and getting students to do research instead of kind of finding out the answers for themselves, instead of directing them and telling them the answer and expecting them to remember it. I think people learn and remember things and are able to reuse them much more effectively if they've found them out for themselves than if they've just been told it and expected to remember it.
Hi Lawrence, can you give us a definition of IVL please?
For me, inquiry-based learning, there isn't one answer. So I would have to say that it's a real variety of things. It can be working alone, independently, going away and researching something for yourself, and really making the topic your own, making the information your own, and then creating your own knowledge base. Or it can equally be network learning, so a combination of working with different people within staff, but also with other sort of peers, other students. And again, sort of researching through sort of discussion and then evaluating that information that you've got and then turning that again into a new knowledge base through your inquiry.
Inquiry-based learning can be many things. What do you think? I've just given you the samples of ideas from students who were studying in our university, who will offer this way to learn, inquiry-based learning, and they're trying to get you through the ideas of their understanding of IVL. Now, what do you think? Keep that in mind. So, now this is day 3's contacts. Now let's move to day 4. In a minute, we are going to let you experience a little bit of college educations in the digital era. And I'm not going to play you all of this, but I want you to be aware of that this is something you need to watch at home, okay, before next week, all right? So I'm going to give you 3 documentaries. The first documentary is Growing Up Online. These are mainly the documentary concerning the secondary students living with technology, particularly intellect. And the second one is for Digital Nations. Digital Nation is concerned about the college students who happen to be living in the internet era and how this internet era and information security issues affect them. And finally, it's called A Generation Like It, which is a very interesting documentary discussing with you the influence of a social media called Facebook and something similar. The first documentary, Growing Up Online, was produced in 2008. The second one, Digital Nations, was produced in 2010. And Generation Y was produced in 2013. So you can really see a span of 5 years of people growing up in things like this. And of course, after you have watched that, if you want to do something more about technology, the BBC documentary is called Technology of the Future. It's very interesting. And somehow I'm also going to bring in Steve Jobs for a very interesting documentary of his life, but not today. And if you want to know something about a technology timeline from 1920s to present, you can watch this video. And you need to know something about how the IT industry comes up and its history. Some of these would become very useful. Now, let me give you half an hour. Okay, today I want you to watch half an hour. But for this particular one, you need 55 minutes. Okay, so you continue to watch it at home. All right. So let's go for Digital Nations. Of course, it was produced by Funlight, okay? Funlight, it's a very famous program in the United States. It's free of charge, helped produced by the public broadcasting systems. Now let's take a look at chapter 1, Distracted by Everything, all right? I hope the line is okay.
2007, Frontline broadcast a film called Growing Up Online.
You need to have the internet on to talk to your friends because everybody uses it.
You can be more crazy online because there's no one watching to see what you're actually doing.
I had no idea what she was doing on the internet. That was a big surprise.
But today, it's not just our kids. All of us are immersed in technology all the time.
This is a digital moment in my life.
From multitasking
Multitasking could be essentially dumbing down the world.
to the military,
It is a complete cultural change for the Air Force.
in work,
I mean, you've all met in real life at one point, right?
Actually, no.
and at play,
The first hour I was hooked. I would play literally non-stop.
and on the virtual frontier.
The question is, are we entering a new paradigm? Or is this just the next best thing?
That's okay, they're not in a real world.
I think that you will live in the virtual world a significant percentage of the time.
Tonight, Frontline producer Rachel Dressen and correspondent Douglas Rushkoff look at the wired world we're living in, our new digital nation.
I kind of want to push the pause button, and everything stops, and we can look and say, just what's going on here?
So, it really hit me one night not that long ago. I was in the kitchen and I was cooking dinner, chopping vegetables, and my husband was in the next room on his laptop. And across the table from my husband was my oldest son, who was also on a laptop doing his homework.
You wash your hands?
And my younger kids had picked up my iPhone and were playing a game on it or something. And, I don't know, it just hit me.